Say what?
Hello and welcome back. It's time for Say What, where we hear from those connected to the industry about what's going on in our world of electrical apprenticeship. And this includes the topics that you are suggesting. So please keep those coming. I am your host, Cindy Sandifer, and I'm here with Todd Stafford, the Executive Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. It's 2023. Woo! Calendars change. We're still trying to write the right year. I guess we don't write as many checks, so maybe that makes things a tiny bit easier. But we at the Electrical Training Alliance are truly just full steam ahead already just in this first month. And so we grabbed a couple of our wonderful staff members, Greg Greiner and Paul Morris, to talk about the year ahead. Okay, so here we are, brand new year. Full steam ahead, all that jazz. What was the best part of 2022 for you, Greg?
I would say togetherness. You know, we were just, while we were together on Zoom for quite some time, getting back together, you know, and being in person with everyone, whether it was internal staff and then all the training centers and all the different places that we visited with NECA and IBW and the JATCs and AJATCs, and really getting back out and getting together with people. You know, I don't know, you always realize that you're missing something when you miss it, right? When it's gone, that's when you go, oh, that was really, really important. And then when we all got all back together, that it was just so powerful. Being in front of a classroom and teaching and feeling that feeling, as opposed to just talking to the screen and going, well, I hope I'm reaching, and you're kind of watching, but being in person and being together and actually feeling a room, like is the best part of the year.
Yeah, well said, because I know often enough whenever during COVID we'd always talked about, you know, they want to get back to see everybody again. When you think about our travel, used to before, pre-COVID, before, after. You used to always say, no, I got to travel because it's necessary for my job. Now I try to say, no, I travel because I get to go meet people.
Yeah.
Right.
Two different intents almost. I'm like the intent change again, which I love that part of it too. Togetherness, great way to describe it.
Yeah, and what I noticed is, so because Zoom's not going away, so what I noticed is you got to see people, say, in person, and then when you did have a Zoom meeting, there was a different connection versus what you had before when you had to. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, that was a huge one for me too. And I was talking to somebody earlier today about my impression of NTI. You know, coming back to the University of Michigan after a couple of years away, and seeing the response, the attendance, and just the enthusiasm of everybody returning to Michigan for that event was really incredible. That was a pretty high point for the year.
That one was tangible. Like, I mean, not just because we were actually in person, but you could feel the difference in people just having that normalcy back for NTI. Yeah. That's huge. So what are you most excited about for 2023? I'm looking at you, Greg.
I think, you know, sharing more resources, more support, adding more usable and functional software, improving software where it's not, adding more to our curriculum, you know, continuing to update our curriculum. It's a pretty powerful feeling to know that, you know, we're working on the, you know, cutting edge content and resources. So every time we get to add something, it's exciting, and we've got so much planned for 2023. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that.
That's great. Paul, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I love the evolution of our curriculum delivery. You know, the fact that we're updating it is one thing, because a lot of it obviously needed to be touched again. But the change in the delivery model, I think over the last few years, we've really been kind of refining what we were going to do and how these all were going to look coming out. And I feel like we're there. I actually feel like now we know what we're doing, and we've actually got results. We've got people using this new curriculum and providing feedback, and overall it's been great. So I'm excited to see more of that. We do have 2023 is a code year, so we are going to have a tremendous amount of curriculum coming out in the next probably 9 months. So it's stressful, but it's exciting, because when we get to the end of all that, and we look back at all we accomplished, it's always a lot of fun to see that.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't realize is the teamwork that you have with Paul and Greg and the teams that both work with to make it happen is that you got two systems being built, really, when you get down to it. You got one system maintaining currently that we use. We got to maintain efficiencies as well as availability for apprentices to use, but yet you build another system over here. Really, and you think about it, it's twice the workload, same staff getting it done as well. That's pretty admirable to watch that happen.
It's, yeah, to have somewhat of a backseat to seeing that part play out is tremendous. And at the regional in Vegas, kind of, we're talking about in one of the sessions about change, and I made the comment, like, was it easier when it was a kit complete? And I'm like, how many second years do I have in this program? Oh, okay, so I'm going to order 50 second year kit completes. Done. Like, yes, was that easy? Was it difficult to start changing into different things? Of course it is, but change is. Change just is. And so as we approach 2023, knowing that we're keeping up with, right, that we are keeping up with what's going on in the world around us is huge, because if we decide, no, we're not going to do anything else, we're right here and we're staying, then we would become dinosaurs, right? We're left behind. But at that same time, you mentioned support and togetherness. And so yes, there's changes, but you are not alone in them. One, we're all feeling it. It's not just the JTC or AJTC, it's the Electrical Training Alliance feeling it too. It'd be easier for us to just do what we've always done, what we know works, but to be able to say, hey, we're going through this with you, you're going through it together, but there's support. And I think that, right, there's a beauty in that. So you kind of mentioned it, but like on the horizon, is there one thing, and if you have to repeat, you can, but like something that sticks out to you as far as what you see coming? It may even be out from 2023, but something that you're seeing that you're excited about.
All of it, like Paul talked about, the 2023 code curriculum. When I look at that's a third of our curriculum that changes, and it's not just what's online; it's what gets printed. It's all of it. A third of it has to evolve. That's pretty massive. There's some things that we don't have to change, and that actually feels good. So I like that too. Like, it'd be great to not change. The thing is, our learners continue to change, and so we continue to need to offer new and updated and revised and improved. And I think that's what's on the horizon, is we're just going to continue to do that and listen, big time listening to, what is needed. I think it's been really powerful this last year just to be able to listen, be back together and actually listen and hear from our programs about what they need. I feel like it's been a time and space where our programs feel comfortable talking to us and asking us for, hey, I see this thing, can you help me with this, or can you add this? The kind of feedback, like Paul talks about, the kind of feedback we're getting, it's always helpful. We might get feedback that says, this doesn't work for us, and it needs to be fixed, and here's an idea about how to fix it. And what a powerful thing, because we may not be able to fix it their way, but it gives us this great vision into what really will. Okay, well, we can't do that, but maybe we can do this. And I think we're getting a little more flexible with our ability. We've always been flexible with our want, but our ability to support that. So I think that's the big thing that's on the horizon, in my opinion, is our ability to kind of react has gotten better, and we'll just keep doing that.
Yeah. You kind of, like, I'm coming back to you, but when you said 1/3 of the curriculum, I think my heart, I was like, I think I'm having heart palpitations. Like, we might need to stop for a second, and I'm not even in it. And I felt it, so I can't even imagine the weight of that. But you're back to togetherness again. As you're saying that stuff, I'm like, yeah, we're doing this. Like, we're all collectively, we're hearing from each other, we're talking, we're responding, accordingly. So, Paul, what's the horizon looking like for you? Pretty sunset on the beach?
I would love that for sure, but there really isn't a lot of time for that these days. Like I said, we're in the middle of a code cycle. We are, continuing the evolution of our curriculum. which is great. I feel like we have gone through the storming phase of change, and we're more into the norming now, where we're actually starting to get into a rhythm, and we can feel it, and we look at things, we look at projects, and we go, oh yeah, I know what I got to do there. That's a big one. Is now it's not the, oh, how do we do this? It's, oh, we've done this. Here's what we need to do. Everything's going to be, every project's a little different, but at the same time, there's commonalities to all of them that you can look at and go, okay, we've got this. It's no more this big black hole out there, like, oh, what's going to be on the other side of that? It's yeah, we've got this. We know we can handle it. We've got some experience at it and some confidence, and I think that's just going to drive us further. I believe 2023 is going to be a pretty significant year.
Well, there's two forms of change you had listed there, and both of them are pretty daunting tasks to accomplish. With Paul and Greg, they've managed to do this, and you change over a third of our curriculum, or you think about a 900 hours, that's better than a year's worth of curriculum, courseware. Every 3 years you change when it goes back and forth and look at it, and that kind of magnitude, plus we're doing all the other changes we're doing. So it's change upon change we're looking at. And they're handling both of it very well, and excited to see where we're going to go. And hopefully the next cycle rolls around, it won't be quite as bad. I'm hoping it'll be close. We can be trying.
Again, I'm like, hold on, Todd. Let me catch my breath. Paul, I'm going to come back to you. What do you want JATCs and AJTCs to know? What do you think is important for them to know as we approach this new year?
I want them to know that we're here for them, and really. I always talk about that how small of an organization we are. We're 50 some odd people, but it's 50 plus people of the most passionate folks that I've ever had the pleasure of working with, and everybody's driving towards common goals of delivering the best curriculum to help our training centers deliver the absolute best electrical workers in the industry. And I mean, I know folks have heard me, internally, they've heard me in the past say that, gee, when I first got here, I used to say, well, we're not banking and we're not healthcare. So, the criticality of what we do isn't quite at that level. But at the same time, what I've come to realize is everybody here, their passion makes us just like that. So it is that important. People, will bend over backwards. They will, work all kinds of hours. Everybody here is so willing to help our JATCs and training centers that they just know that we're here, and we're trying our absolute very best to help deliver the best curriculum.
What about you, Greg? What would you want them to know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we're here to serve their purpose. And we know, and I've Todd says it all the time, and we know that if we're not providing a quality service that's usable for them, then we got to change. We've got to change what we're doing, and so it's all about their ability to use the content and the resources. And if we're not performing, we're going to do whatever we can to perform, and we're open to constructive criticism and hearing, and we're also open to be there to lend a hand, to get on the phone and walk through any of our resources or any of the systems. If there's need to help put a kit complete together, we're there to do that. Work on how do we schedule, we know there's turnover at JATCs and AJTCs, and, our passion is to make sure that they have everything they need. And if they've got questions, that we're here for them, and we're wanting to be there to help, because their success is our success, and ultimately, we know that we're on the very end of this. Is somebody who's making a house payment or a car payment, and making their way to the middle class. and they're using some curriculum that somebody reviewed and edited, and some image that we looked at and made sure was the right size in the right location with the right figure, nomenclature. I mean, down to that level. But we know that there's some student that's looking at that, and it means something to them. If it's inaccurate, it's going to slow them down. If the system doesn't function right, it's going to slow them down. They don't need that. They got plenty to do, and learning's hard. So, us to add anything to that, that's like so against everyone here. Like, we just want to help.
Right.
That's it. We just want to help.
And that's such an important message. Todd, as you're looking, I've kind of talked to them a little bit, but what's coming for 2023, what you're excited about, what you want our JTCs and AJTCs to know, just kind of wrapping all that, I guess, together.
Well, as we continue to evolve our pathway of courseware development, what we do, that concentration effort of getting I call the educational electric component out of the classroom, bringing the training side, which is what our instructors do, what they do for a living every day, whether in the classroom or on the job. Most of the time it's both places where they do it, or has been both. And let's get back to training on those skill sets we do. What to do the skill sets, of course, you got to know the educational model. That has to be present, have to be made available, and that's our change focus. That's what we're trying to educate, as well as bring the training components to the JTC in a format that doesn't increase the workload. There's going to be some cost changes. There's going to be some cost changes. And if consumables, for example, go to hands-on training, consumables cost more. It does happen. But the workload change will be huge as well, and it is change. I mean, I've said it before, 100 times about, change doesn't always mean progress, but progress always means change. It has to happen. We're going to do that, and we can't make progress without the change involved. And these two guys are great. I mean, they just, the model, the program they built out, and the advancements they've made as far as teaching people how to use our system, as well as the infrastructure to build out of our system and courseware directly. You won't get better. I'll match it up against anybody in the country, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure. One thing, as we're kind of closing out, Paul, you talked about our staff, and is there anything you would want to say, I guess, about or to, if you will, our staff?
Well, again, I just, what a talented group of individuals that we have working on this curriculum every single day, living it, breathing it. Again, I talked about the passion. It just can't be overstated how passionate our staff is about trying to produce the absolute best. They work tirelessly. It's an honor to work with such a group. I actually joke that a lot of these folks just let me hang out with them. They're doing the hard work. It's just, it's what a just a great organization. I can't really say much more. I've been here 8 years, and it's amazing to see how we continue to evolve. But the passion is one thing that is always there.
Yeah, and before, Greg, I'm going to ask you that same question, but before I go there, Paul, you've said stuff, I know at NTI, I saw you present and you put up pictures of the curriculum development team because you want people to see there's people behind it. And so I just want listeners to know, I'm not asking this question to blow us up and, build our, egos or anything. It's more about there are people behind this. So as we're going into this new year, there's people behind the things that are being done, the 1/3 of the curriculum, the CML model, all of these things, the phone call that you make or the package that you receive or whatever it is. It's there are people there that really do care. And I think it's important that we understand it's not, this feeling of a robotic thing. This is people that actually feel. So to you, Greg, what would you say?
I'm not a whole lot more different than what Paul said. It's we work with an incredible group. It's an honor to get to work with this group. It's an honor to work around such this level of passion to serve. As an entire group, it's all about the service. There's no one part of it is more important than any other part of it. The words that get written in a textbook are just as much done by our accounting department as our packaging department, as any other department of our company. Every single part of it has to function in order for us to do what we do. And so any success we ever have, it's because of every single person in the company, and I just feel honored to get to work with each person in the staff, and I certainly thank not only my opportunity to be here, but thank each one of them to get to work with them and learn from them. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, learning from each other that's one of the great takeaways. Anything you want to say about?
These two have said it well enough. It's our staff is amazing what they can accomplish every day and what they do, and how we can support them. That's my job. Support, not to do anything and tell anybody how to do what, just support them in their efforts because they got the right direction, right way to go.
Yeah, well, you do. I say to you often that you let us fly, and I think that's allow us to soar. And I can certainly speak to Paul and Greg and everybody, but I think, yeah, I get the privilege of working with all three of you, and being in meetings or having the silly conversations. Those really help to get through the next task. Is to know that we can laugh, we can have fun, and also work harder even than the fun that we're having. And I think building those relationships so that you can get in the weeds with each other.
Exactly. We can have the hard conversations because we do know who we are.
Yes,
Right,
exactly. Well, guys, I guess with 1/3 of the curriculum being done, I
think
probably
we
should
do.
let you go. But my heart is truly with you at this point. So thank you for taking time to share and encourage, and hopefully let everyone know that we're here for whatever they need. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Todd, I guess we talked a lot about things in that episode, but what are you thinking as we end?
Well, there's no way to give enough credit to those who get the work done, the amount of work they do and how well they do it. I mean, you can't express enough thanks and appreciation for all the work they got moving, because we have a lot of different juggling, spinning plates. We're trying to keep balanced and moving and in the air at the same time, and they do it quite well. And we learn as we go. Yeah, we made mistakes along the way, and they're the best learners ever. And we always say that as well. As we get better. We're getting better as we develop the process. We develop how to build new courseware, new delivery methods that we use, and their expertise is unsurpassed anywhere. And you can tell that. They understand what they're doing. They know it well as taking on the additional loads, which we already had, code changes, by the way, as well as all the new courseware development creation we do. They're just tremendous workers, no doubt.
Yeah. 1/3. That's just stuck in my head. But yeah, I want to name all. I think we're at 57, but I could be wrong on that. But it's like I want to just sit here and just list these names, have them scrolling on a screen, because everybody. It really absolutely takes everyone. I think Greg and Paul, between the two of them, talked about togetherness and support. And I think that, to me, is what came out of this, is not only the ETA and us as the Alliance working together internally, but externally for those that we serve, and then supporting, again, each other internally, but then supporting our industry, supporting the JTCs and the AJTCs. And so that, to me, was like this big message, is as we roll into this new year, seeing the importance of that.
Well, that tremendous amount of change we're bringing forth it's hard to see unless you've been back looking in the past, where we were in the past, where we're at today. And you're right, we got 50 some odd workers we have now. Where it's at. I love to have them all. That depends upon whether who's intern, who's not, who's leaving, who's back and forth. That's why we don't know the numbers every day. It changes. But the point of the matter is that, we did that with electricians, myself included, being one of the ones cutting paper and pasting paper on a piece of paper, and that was like photocopy ready for printing and done, to the software-generated world today. And we're a software group. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. We develop training materials, but it's all in a software development process, not in the hard copy process we used to do in the past. That calls different tools, different areas of work, and the end user sees the end result, which is a better curriculum development, and as well as the ease of use is part of it as well. But that only happens through the 50 some odd people that make that happen, because no longer is it just me writing and taking a picture of something. Here, print this. It's not how it's done anymore. It's a lot of development tools along the way. And Greg, Paul, and others, and all the others in the staff, not just those two, did such a amazing job managing the process, developing the new skills needed for development of new courseware, new designs, new dreams. They make it happen. Mm-hmm. And as we continue to get the right staff in the right place, they continue to grow and amaze everybody. There's no doubt what they do, because I'll say this again, no one else in this country is doing what we do. Right. And the tools we build and how we build it. And it's just amazing what they've taught themselves and us how to do over the last few years.
Yeah, coming up to speed. Like, I'm sitting here, looking at my phone, holding it, and thinking of all the things I do with this, and I mean, I can access stuff for this podcast, right? That on here, and I had to do that one time because I know we were having some screen issues. And so it's just, we're working toward that, right? This is who we're training. This is who's out in the field, And so it's incredible to see us moving forward to what people are using.
Exactly. And the methods of training are changing. And that's what we got to be able to always be cognizant of that. Whether we like it or not, the methods of training are going to change. They always have since the beginning of time till now. And sometimes we're behind the curve, sometimes we're ahead of the curve, sometimes we're just right. I think we're just right moving where we're going.
Agreed. So thanks to Greg and Paul for taking the time to hang out. Clearly they're busy, as we all are, even you, the listeners, too, as well. But, just to share and talk about what's coming this year. And big thanks, speaking of listeners, to you for taking time to join us. And remember that we want to hear from you. If there are topics that you'd like us to discuss, to cover, or if you think that there's something you'd like to come on and chat with us about, let us know by sending an email to saywhat, SAYWATT, at electricaltrainingalliance.org. Our next episode will be in February, and we are really excited to chat with members of the IBEW Electrical Workers Minority Caucus. You may have heard them called by their acronym EWMC. So be sure to tune in and check out that episode in February. Until then, stay connected with us through our newsletters, blog posts. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to the podcast. Stay powered up, and we will see you next time.
Say what?